In the studio to start off the show, we have the West Shamokin head football coach, Mr. Josh Gilliland. Josh, how are we doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Little damp out there today.
Yeah, you just came from practice. How'd that go with the rain?
I'd have rather been inside.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, let's jump right into it. There's a lot of news surrounding the West Shamokin program. A lot of good news for the first time in about 4 years. Let me ask you, whenever you guys were up 25-6, fourth quarter, you know, basically the whole quarter just kind of dripping away. How long did that last quarter really take?
It felt like forever, to be honest with you. We kind of started to think we're going to win the game. I walked past Coach Parks and told him not to smile yet because it wasn't quite over. Mm-hmm. But when we got the ball back, with I don't know what was it, about 2 minutes left or something. I knew it was about time to celebrate.
Kind of sinking in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, what was the initial reaction? I'm sure you've played this scenario over in your head a couple times. What's going to happen when we finally win? Am I gonna break down? Am I gonna stay stone faced? Am I gonna jump up in the air? What was your initial reaction? Was it more of like a shock factor, or was it what happened?
Yeah, I was numb, I would say. That's the only thing I thought that I'd break down, being that it took so many tries, and but it was just a numb feeling. It was kind of surreal, I guess you'd say. I drove so many times out Friday afternoon to the game, imagining what it would be like, So it was very surreal and very humbling.
And is it that feeling where you don't want to go back now? That's exactly where I want to be now.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
Now, as far as that was your reaction. Now, I was there, so I kind of know. But tell our listeners and viewers kind of the reactions you saw on the kids' faces after the clock hit triple zeros. What was whenever you saw the kids? They ran off the field towards the sidelines. What did you encounter whenever they won?
I've never seen such bigger smiles on our team ever. I think Brady greeted me first, along with Wingard, and everybody it was ecstatic. It was just so nice to finally see those kids get what they've worked so hard for and deserve.
Oh, absolutely. Now let's break down a little bit of the game play, or during the game. What did you guys do that made you so successful? What would you think was the main component because you did win 25-6? That's a pretty convincing win. What were you guys able to do to defeat Riverview?
Well, they said down early on in the booth that, they had, their safety was playing 7 yards off the ball right in the middle of the field. They were packing the box in with 9-10 guys. So I said, let's go double tight and let's see if we can, get Wingard and Maddie to the outside. It worked out well for us. It wasn't the game plan. The game plan was to, hopefully pound Horner for about 23 times and, get him his carries. But, that was the nice thing about, Maddie and Andrew stepping up, and also Brady. Brady was a big part of our outside run game, and we went away from the spreading them out and, trying to spread teams out and use our athletic ability. We just, I guess you could play. We said we played old Harry Beck with wing tee football.
Yeah, exactly. Without a pass attempt, that was definitely the way it was. Now Brady had to step in. Brady Corman had to step in for Alex Laszlo, who has a concussion. Evaluate his performance as a whole, because it's not easy just saying, okay, we're going to bring you in, you're going to be the quarterback this week. And so how do you think that he handled that pressure? Because he did play a little bit of quarterback for you before. How do you think that he reacted to that?
Early on in the week when we knew we were going to have to go with Brady, with Alex going down, I was all right with it because of Brady starting pretty much every game last year for us. He had his problems with fumbling snaps and whatnot, but the kids follow Alex, and then they stepped up and they followed Brady, and Brady's not really a raw guy. He just goes about his business and does what he has to do, and he had a phenomenal game both offensively and defensively for us.
Yeah, and on defense, I believe he caused a fumble on a fake punt. It was a fake punt attempt from Riverview, and he jarred the ball loose on a phenomenal hit, and that's a momentum builder in itself. So he's kind of helping out his own cause on defense there. Getting back to the win, and like I said, first time since September of 2007. What does this mean? What does this win mean for the community, for the kids, the team, and for you? What is it? And I'm not trying to say, because let's put things in perspective here. But what does this win really mean for you guys?
I think it gave new life to the kids. I've always been positive. I've always thought we could win football games. But I think it gave a little life to everybody in the community, and they do realize that the kids have the capability of doing it. They've worked hard both days this week. We just keep preaching to them about not letting it go to their head. One win doesn't make a whole season. But it's just breathed a lot of life into, even down to the school. I mean, it's just, there's a stir everywhere you go now, out in Rural Valley, Dayton area, whatever. Everybody's talking about, oh, did you hear West Shamokin won? And now, there's been a few articles on the streak being broken. So everybody's excited, but we've got 2 more days of practice, and we've got to get ourselves honed back in and get ready to play Avonworth. Absolutely.
And talking about, let's revert a little bit back to during that time where losing was the norm, a tumultuous time, that 4-year span where you just couldn't kind of get off the schneid there. What do you do as a coach to install in your players to keep your spirits high? What did you do week to week to say, hey, this isn't gonna last? We gotta keep focused. This is a new game. Forget last week. Basically, what were you able to do to keep spirits high and keep the morale high and keep that positive attitude going? Because being around the program, I've always seen a very positive attitude. At least for this year when I've been around, I've seen a big positive attitude no matter what. What have you been able to do to keep those spirits so high?
The coaches and stuff, we have meetings and whatnot, and it's just always, I tell them, find the positive, even if it's a kid's, sprinting hard, find the positive in it and pick him up and tell him he's doing a good job. If we dwelled on, my first game, I think it was 63-0 against Burrell when I opened up, and I was so nervous I could barely get plays in and out without, beating the 25-second clock.
Right.
But it was just a matter of, there wasn't, other than Coach Rarick, there wasn't one varsity staff member that's ever been in a varsity Friday night game. So we always tried to pick up on the good things. If we had, maybe a couple good passes or even just one good pass throughout the years, and we just always tried to build off of, the smallest, littlest thing that was good, and I think that's where, we've started to evolve now.
And you kind of get that corner turned a little bit, and let's talk about the future a little bit, and we'll talk about the present team, and then we'll talk a little bit about the future. Aside from the conference change, you guys did move down to Single A this year. You're playing different teams. You're in the Whitfield Single A as opposed to the Double A where you were last year. What do you think is there something different with this team this year that you have noticed, or you're taking away from this team, or maybe there's something a little bit different than from years past?
They're not as far removed from per se the losing. We have 4 seniors. 2 have been with me from day one since I got the job out there as 9th graders. But our sophomore group's only 2 years removed from junior high. Our junior group's only 3 years removed from junior high. So they have won, and even our senior group had success when they were younger. And it was just fine. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like the chemistry just started clicking, and we've got some vocal leaders. And the biggest thing is the 27, 28 kids, they've been dedicated since January. I mean, we've had a good group of kids since January, and I think they finally just came together and said, this is it. We're done.
Yeah,
we're ready to move on and make West Shamokin, put them on the map.
Absolutely, and you talked a little bit about that group that's coming up. What do you, and just kind of in your opinion, what do you got in the lower ranks in the junior high? I know there's a very successful junior high program right now. Are you excited for those guys that are coming up?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a great group of we were able to leave some 9th graders down. We brought some 9th graders up. There's a bunch of good linemen down there. There's a little bit of speed here and there, and even the 8th graders. They have a young quarterback in 8th grade. Looks like he's going to be a great talent for West Shamokin. Haven't made it to a midget game yet this year, but I'm anxious to go see even what the midgets got to offer. Because I really, it's that's the only way. The youngsters are the ones that build the program.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that I think it's so pivotal for them to see success as they did last week, because it was I believe it was youth football night at the field, right? Whenever you guys won,
exactly, yeah.
And they came out and they saw a big victory, and I think that's I think that's very essential for them to see success, and then they themselves want to carry that on. So I think it couldn't have happened on a better night, really.
Right, and that's what I told him, too, in the pregame speech. You know, I said to him, I said, guys, there's 60, 70 kids out there, you know, players, cheerleaders, and I said, they look up to you. Whether they don't seem like they look up to you, they look up to you. Because I was young once, and I remember looking up to the varsity players, you know, and those kids thrive on that. That, you know, when you run out and they're all holding their hands out and smacking the kids, you know, on their shoulder pads, jumping up, you know, I mean, the little kids really like that, and it was nice that it was community night, Little Wolf night. You know, I'm not exactly sure what they call it, but it was a great night to have a first victory. It couldn't have happened on a better evening.
Well, I know the place was electric, and it was unexplainable. Unless you were there, you can't really say what the crowd reaction, the fan reaction, team reaction, coach reaction, for that matter. Now let's move on a little bit. You touched on this a little bit earlier. What do you do now? Now that you got the wins under the belt now, and you move on, you got Avonworth this week. What do you do to say, okay, guys, that's one. Now that's not the season. That wasn't our Super Bowl. That wasn't our playoff. What do you say? It's time to go get number 2. How do you keep that attitude churning throughout the week?
It's funny because with this group, it's not that hard to do that. I mean, we played well in our first 2 scrimmages, and then we got brought back down to earth, you know, in the first 2 weeks of the season, you know. And I guess we kind of build our start to sing away as Springdale being our Super Bowl and whatnot, you know. And I look back on that and say, you know, we shouldn't have put so much hype on game number 1, you know. But, you know, I haven't had to say a whole lot. You know, I talked to them Monday and just told them, you know, did you enjoy your weekend? Did you celebrate? Okay, it's over, you know. Now it's time. We got to go get Avonworth, and we got to get prepared for them. And, you know, they respond. Our team responds very well, you know, to a lot of things, you know. And you know, it's not hard for them to get back to work. And that's a big thing with them. It's like we have a lot of fun in the locker room. We have a lot of fun watching game film. But when it's time to listen and time to be, you know, the football side of it, they're ready to go.
Well, that's the attitude that you have to have installed for it to be a successful program. Now, you held Riverview to 6 points, which was big because the previous 2 weeks you guys giving up an average around 47 points or somewhere around that area. What was was there a change in defensive philosophy last week that allowed you guys to kind of get back, or was there a more comfort zone or something? What was the change of pace there on defense?
We actually scrapped our defense. Well, I shouldn't say scrapped it, but we just went to a more vanilla. Let the kids, you know, be the players they are. Let them read and react to the football. You know, put 11 helmets on there, and that's what they did. You know, so it was less. You know, we dialed down all the thinking, and you know, am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to be there? And just said, hey, you know, do your job at your position. Read, react to the football, and you know, Coach McCullough had him ready, and you know, I was really happy for Coach McCullough. You know, 6 points. You know, we've never had that at Shamokin.
you got to be ecstatic about that. As far as the offense goes, a big stat that I think is probably the most important one, and it's no stat at all. It's the big 0 when it came to the turnover column.
Oh, definitely.
How big was that? Because that was a big problem in the first couple games, turning the ball over. How big was that to not turn the ball over, especially when you're running the ball so much? And I believe that you guys only really put it on the ground once, and that was during a kickoff, and you recovered it. How big was it to just keep control of the ball?
Oh, it was huge, because even when we weren't, you know, even when we didn't have drives that scored, you know, we moved the ball a little bit. We had to punt. I mean, Austin Buzzard is a phenomenal punter for us. We have probably one of the best coverage teams I've seen out there. You know, so it works out well when you don't fumble the ball on your own 30, 40-yard line and give them the short field. You know, we punted the ball down in their end, and we bent a little bit on defense, but we never had that huge breakdown. You know, so yeah, 12 turnovers I think we had in the first 2 weeks, and I told the kids, I said, you know, take the gloves off, get a towel around your belt, keep your hands dry, you know, and hold on to the football.
Yeah.
And I guess I joked around and said we're kind of praying for some rain this week because we hold on to it better when it's raining
Yeah,
out than when it's
isn't
dry
that
out.
funny how things work out like that. And you're talking about Austin Buzzard. Yeah, he averaged almost 40 yards a punt last game. So if you can control the ball, and then even if you have to punt, to just flip that field position is absolutely pivotal. So that you guys did a fantastic job doing that. I'll get you out of here on this. We're going to talk a little bit about the game coming up against Avonworth this Friday. What do you know about them? I'm sure you hit the film basically as soon as that first win was over. I'm sure you started looking at them. What Avonworth do? How are they doing? They only defeated Riverview 15-8 whenever they played Riverview. You guys defeated Riverview 25-6. What do you know about them, and what do you think that it's going to take this week? And I know that's a pretty cliche question, but what will it take for you guys to go in there and get things done? Because it's going to be a different atmosphere. You're not at home. You're going to be in the antelope den, if you will. So what do you know about them? What's it going to take?
They lost 19 seniors. We know that, but that doesn't make them any less. It doesn't make them any less of a potential team that can't beat us. But I think size-wise, because I got to see him on Saturday against Riverview, I think size-wise we match up with them up front. Mm-hmm. Back to the Riverview game, we controlled the line of scrimmage against Riverview. If we can do that Friday night, we're going to put ourselves in a good situation to win. Obviously, keeping the turnovers to a minimum or nothing at all. They do have a good running back. Their quarterback play. I think their starting quarterback was hurt. So I don't know if he'll be back or not, but they throw the ball around a little bit. It's going to be a matter of the kids. It's going to be a dogfight out there,
Mm-hmm.
And if the kids come ready to play, we're going to be in a football game.
Right.
I truly believe it, and I think if anything bad happens, I think we'll handle adversity, better now, knowing, hey, we've been here, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We can win. I think that'll be a big factor in the game.
And I think that if you guys play the same game that you played last week, it's a very formidable team. Real quick, little injury update. I'll let you take. I know coaches don't like to discuss injuries too much, but a quick update on maybe Zach Horner. I know he was laboring a hamstring a little bit. How's he doing?
Yeah, he'll be all right for Friday.
Yeah, I assumed he would be.
He's a gamer. He's practiced all week. Mm-hmm. Haven't seen any signs of any setbacks from him. So I think he'll be ready to go. I don't see any reason why not. We may hold off some special teams and whatnot, but he's definitely a gamer. Everybody's banged up. It's week 4 now.
Yeah, we're heading into it.
Now?
Yeah, we're heading into week 4.
Week 4, so everybody's sore. But the Antelopes will be. I'm sure. They got some guys beat up a little bit too, and it's all going to matter on who comes to play Friday night.
Absolutely. Has there been any update on Alex Laszlo's his status?
Yeah, I spoke to his father today. Well, him and his father today. He was back at the doctor. It's going to be one more week. With his concussion, I don't know the ins and outs of it all, but he definitely should be back for the week in North Catholic.
All right, well, that is head coach of West Shamokin, Josh Gilliland. I thank you very much for being on, taking time, coming basically straight from practice in the pouring rain to be with us. Games at 7:30 at Avonworth. Hopefully the West Shamokin fans turn out in bundles to see their team maybe get 2 in a row, and that's going to be really, really exciting. Thanks for being on, Coach. We appreciate it, and I'll see you at the game.
All right, thank you, John.